Day 2 started pretty early. I was up with the sun, mostly because I was still wanting to keep an eye on the anchor since we had dragged anchor one more time before we went to bed that night. I got up early, got my coffee made, and started making breakfast for the guys, and just tried to get my head wrapped around how the day was going to go. The day before, our first day, we didn't even get on the water until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I was really hoping to get an earlier start on the day. It's just beautiful. Looks like maybe a blue heron going across the water there. Lovely morning. So, we have some things we need to figure out. We're talking about possibly going down to the lock today and anchoring at our original anchorage near the lock that we had kind of planned to do. But the weather is supposed to be a little rougher tomorrow. We've also discussed the possibility of maybe trying to lock through today. We will have to figure out what to do with this guy, because yesterday was not a good day for our dinghy. There's another blue heron. They're all over this morning. The dinghy, our boat has about a 9-foot beam. Now, of course, it's not nearly 9 feet at the back. It's 9 feet at the widest part of the boat here. So the dinghy is 10.5 feet, which means it sticks out a pretty good amount on both sides of the boat. And the problem with that is our fenders, that we don't even have any on that side yet, we have to remedy that as well. Our fenders are not nearly big enough to keep the dinghy off of the wall. My other concern is whether our fenders are going to be enough to keep our spreaders from hitting if the boat starts to rock a lot. So we're going to have to think about that. We do have one big ball fender that if we inflate it pretty good, gosh, I don't even know if yeah, there it is. If we inflate it pretty good, I think we'll keep the fenders off the wall. Good morning. That one looks like a biter. It might have to go. He's camera shy. So originally we thought about maybe just taking the dinghy off and using one of the halyards to hoist it and put it on the bow of the boat. The problem is, if we do that, the dinghy is so big, we're not going to be able to go forward and do anything at the bow, and that's also going to be problematic going through the lock. So I'm kind of wondering if we can, or just fish everywhere. We're going fishing this morning. Kind of wondering if we can lower one side and lift the other up. Maybe see about how we can affix it more vertically between the two davits. And that way it will ride behind the boat more centered. It doesn't have to be straight up and down necessarily. It just needs to be vertical enough that it's not going to get bashed. I don't know that we can do that either. I'm afraid we won't have enough height to do that. So we've got some ideas and some thoughts. We're definitely going to have to think about that before we lock through. So I've definitely learned my lesson about saying, hey, we're going to do this today, because the odds of us actually doing it today are dictated by things beyond my control. So I don't know if we're going to lock through today. I know that we are talking about it, but I know that before that happens, we have to figure out the dinghy situation. So, okay, Ethan is still in the water, happy as a clam. It is about 8:30 in the morning, and We are going to try to get underway soon. Ray's going to wash off the deck because it's filthy from where we had to anchor, then re-anchor, then anchor, then re-anchor, then anchor, then re-anchor. So we'll get that cleaned up. We're just going to try to get everything sort of fixed up. It's a beautiful anchorage. I'll be honest, this is a place I could stay for a couple of days and not only enjoy the anchorage, but I feel like we could practice some things and kind of get our feet under us a little better. But we're way behind schedule from what we planned to be. And weather windows. We have lots of locks to go through, and we don't want to try to lock through on our first time, really on any time, but especially on our first time on a bad weather day. So today is a good day to try to do that if we can get there fairly early in the day. So I think that's what we're going to try to do. We still have to figure out the dinghy situation in more detail, so more on that later. But for now, I'm going to go back to getting things put away in the cabin. I've already got our room cleaned up. We make our bed each day. And we did that at home too. But here we've got such limited space, and everything's in this room, so it's important that we clean this up. I may try to secure the stuff in the bathroom just a little bit more. For the most part, that's all taken care of. Ethan's bed is tidied up. The settee is mostly tidied up. So I think we've got to clean out the cockpit some, clean off the deck a little, and we'll go from there. So once we were able to get Ethan and the dinghy out of the water, we decided we would try to get going for the day. Begin motoring. I'm going to go ahead and go in gear, okay? Feels like we got a lot of vibration. Like a lot. So Ray came back to take a look and see if he could determine what was wrong. And to be honest, we never did figure it out. The boat was vibrating really hard. It wasn't getting up to speed easily. So we were kind of worried it might be a drive shaft issue or something wrong with the engine again. But after we motored around for a little while and, was able to get the throttle up, it straightened itself out, and it hasn't had any issues since. I'm not sure if we just had maybe some seaweed or debris around the prop or what really happened here, but it made us pretty nervous, and we had to make a decision as to whether we would drop anchor and stay there in the cove to try to figure it out, or go back to Blue Springs and see if we could work on the boat there, or our third option, if we would just go on and wing it and try to figure it out. And we opted to just figure it out. So like I said, we motored there in the cove for a little bit. The boat straightened itself out, and since we knew our next anchorage would be at a dock instead of anchored out in a cove, we decided we would just go ahead and head to the next dock.
here? Okay. I'm in reverse.
All right. So, old Watts Bar Marina and Resort. Looks like it has been abandoned for a little while. That's okay.
I wonder how long.
Yeah, we'll have to look it up and see. The ospreys like it. That's a good sign. We can go ashore to take a dump if we need to, because we can't aboard. Don't say it. We really want to quote Christmas Vacation, but then we can't post the video.
Oh, yeah.
So night number 2 at an old abandoned marina is going to be a completely different kind of adventure. But to be honest, I'm really just looking forward to being tied up to a dock and not having to worry about dragging anchor tonight. So I hope that we all sleep a little more soundly. The water is crystal clear. We can walk right down to it. And Ethan has a ton of space for swimming and jumping off the docks and just having his own adventures. So we're excited to stay here tonight, and tomorrow should be the day that we lock through for the first time. So we're going to get a good night's sleep and go from there. Thanks for watching.